You know what I really don't get? One performance determines promotion and the other determines elimination. It seems so backwards because now we can't hear them criticize, for example, Kotoko, because why would they promote and eliminate her? Like, you can do great in one performance and you can bomb the other, or you can do just well enough in both, or any number of scenarios due to parts distribution, song key, concepts, outfits. Why not promote the contestants who did the best across both stages and eliminate those who did the worst across both? I am way too angry at the show right now. One person per unit will be eliminated based on 3 factors. The fact that the girls seem to find out on stage right before performing. Sunu reaches out to explain to Jayla while Narumi explains to Niji. Unicorn's producers and the opposing unit get 1 vote each. If the 3 each pick a different contestant, they will decide by an individual battle. Team Dream Girl goes first, and Yuna says the song's key was too high. I will never understand this. As much as I like their production, the producers show no understanding of the girls' voices. They record the day after their first vocal lesson, and the producers don't even suggest they might have to bring the key down. I really can't blame Nana for crying in front of the producers because there's really nothing she can do about the song being out of range. They do the midterm evaluation again, then reveal their votes on video with each contestant, one by one. Yeram chooses Yona, saying she was not good at matching the other girl's stage emotion. Eunhyung chooses Yona as well, saying she didn't catch her eye. Sonu chooses her as well, saying she wasn't very memorable. Haram, Eunhyung, Narumi, and Nidzi choose her as well. From her own team, Sheehan joins the ranks. I'm strong enough to admit I started crying because I managed to pause at the perfect time to see their reactions to it, and I could tell how much hurt Gabi, Jelly, Alicia, and Jayla were feeling for Yona. You could also tell how ashamed many of the girls started feeling, like Yunha and Sonu. This was cruel to all of them, but it probably hurts a lot less to get a bunch of anonymous votes than to see their faces and hear their voices and know why they decided to choose you. Nana and Gyoryeon also add to the pile of people choosing Yona, with Nana citing her lack of parts and lack of dancing skill. Gyoryeon, on the other hand, says her part is very small, but she doesn't remember her practicing all that hard. Haram also votes for Yona, saying she didn't see her practice that hard. Huran and Kotoko choose Yona as well. Then they show some clips from behind the scenes and have Gyoryeon in the voiceover explaining that Yona was on her phone a lot during individual vocal practice. Sorry if it gets messy from here, but I literally can't form coherent thoughts. I'm getting so enraged and upset. It literally makes me want to throw up watching them so blatantly evil edit her, using her age against her, and on top of that repeating the same beats as what Mnet did to the Chinese finalists on Girls Planet to evil edit her for things other contestants got away with or were even framed as cute for. Yona asks for clarification for where she should position herself in the formation, and they caption it, "not familiar with the basic movement," but there's no context for when this happens. This could be day 1 of practice for all we know. And when Sheehan explains, she quickly jumps to correct herself. I'm going to start shaking with rage. You can also tell this is pre-elimination, as Sheehan is not in the same place during that part in the final performance, and I think Itota Yui was at the front. Then they have Yuri say she snacks during practice and imply a lack of concentration or dedication. I'm just here thinking we have no context as to whether or not it might be health-related in any way. She might have medications she needs to take with food, or have supplements or vitamins, or she might just be hungry. And they cut back to Yona saying she was taken aback and didn't realize so many people would choose her, and she feels it's unfair. She's better than me because I would have ran out of that room in a fit of some kind of emotion. Probably betrayal. She then tells the judges she'll show a stage that proves the other contestants were wrong for choosing her. You guys do not want to hear what I have to say about the performance because it got so mean-spirited, and I don't want to drag children, especially not over things they can't control. If you want to hear the nice version, Yona and Nana were the only ones who actually got the stage emotion memo. This isn't a cute and bright song. If anything, it's like G-Friend's Rough or Lovely's is Destiny. Even Hyunju and Yoonha pointed out that the lyrics are surprisingly sad. When I heard them say that, I immediately felt vindicated for a thought I wanted to say earlier, but I felt like I was veering into delusionally defensive territory, but I don't care anymore. Every time they showed Yona on her phone, and especially because it was during the solo vocal practice, she had the lyric sheet in her hand, and do you want to know what my immediate thought was? She's probably looking up words to make sure she has the right understanding of the song's emotion. She may be probably the best Korean speaker out of the foreign trainees, but she's still not a native speaker, and reading comprehension is a skill, not inherent. Emotional interpretation is also a skill, not inherent. I even went and watched the full stage cam, and I'm sticking with what I said. Yona and Nana are the only ones who followed the musical narrative throughout. Now I'm going to get into the harsh truth. Expecting Yona to stand out on stage when she got a singular line and was kept in the back or to the side otherwise is ridiculous, but her soft stage presence was actually perfect for this stage. While yes, Nana struggled with the bridge and it should have been given to someone else, she overall left the strongest impression, especially because she was the only person on that stage actually trying something new, i.e. rapping. Hwang Shion has a really weak voice. No projection to be found, and the contrast is stark when Sowon sings right before or after her. Oh Yuna really disappointed me with her underdeveloped head voice. Haram just shouldn't be on this team. She didn't do badly, but nothing about it is catered to her actual skills. Yuri is usually someone I really enjoy on stage, but this time her voice was unstable and I'm not as willing to forgive that at this point in the competition. A little too shaky for my liking. Sowon always brings powerful vocals and nice dancing, but that's about it. There's little to no actual variation in her performance, and it's not her fault. She literally doesn't have the emotional maturity to execute it. But that doesn't mean I can't point it out when it almost ruins the stage experience. Most of the girls are either giving nothing in the expressions department or giving varying degrees of soft smiles, and here comes Sowon, beaming. And again, this isn't something she can't improve with time, but we're talking about right now. You can really tell that she's been told her whole life to smile widely so even the people in the back can see, which is common advice given to young singers since they tend to do cute songs that make you feel happy and other exaggerated performances. And especially in musical theater, which Sowon has a background in. If you want a point of reference, go watch CSR's Shining Bright, then this stage, then Lovely's performing Destiny. Then for good measure, if you want to understand the point about this being an inherently sad song, watch Oh My Girl's Queendom version of Destiny. Alicia was fine, nothing bad to say, except she fell into the same trap a lot of the others did where her expressions got a little too bright at times. As for Jelly, all I have to say is I really hope someone works with her on her breath support and breath regulation. I hate this part of the survival show where the producers just start purging the contestants they don't want to even have a chance of making it, and especially how they'll use the judges to justify it. Sejong saying that in a group stage, it really comes down to the parts distribution, and that's why she was disappointed in Yona's performance. Then she turns around to compliment Nana for how well she did, especially as a rapper, and for her emotional interpretation, and I get conflicted over whether I should agree with her or not. I agree on the Nana part, but how are you going to blame Yona for the part the producers gave her and the choreography keeping her in the back? She was stable, her tone was clear, her stage presence and emotional interpretation were stellar even when the camera wasn't focused on her. She was damn near the only person on that stage with proper breath support and regulation. What more is she supposed to do with that one line? Burst into opera? It's not like the producers even had like an audition for the parts, at least not one they showed to us. So we can't even know if this was from the song producers or the show producers. And what about all the parts the eliminated girls were doing? Did those just get distributed to 3 contestants? Amazing how some of them got to have actual parts with 2 or more lines, but Yona gets criticized for getting 1 line as if it's her fault. I'm gonna keep being mad about this because this isn't fair and nobody's judging her on her actual skills or her actual attitude, just assumptions and unfounded blame. I keep pausing the show to let my emotions out, but she points out Yuna as the other person who had the right emotional interpretation. That's just not accurate at all. I'm at the judges' deliberation and I just don't want to watch this show anymore. I can't watch people I respected as much as I did continue the pile on when Yona didn't do anything but her best, which was more than good enough. I just don't understand how they're going to discredit an entire show of her showing off her vocals and stage presence and dance skills when, no offense, Hwang Shion and Kotoko are on the damn team. I will place a hex on these producers. I actually paused the episode at this point and went to sleep because I just didn't have the energy anymore. I don't even want to see the results because this is so disingenuous. They have the girls listen to the judges' feedback. Of course, a bunch of impressionable teenagers will be influenced by that. And don't think I haven't noticed how much of this show is judged on for her age. Meanwhile, the closest person to Yona in age in this team is Yuri at 18. That is a 6-year age gap. You could not pay me to work with a bunch of teenagers in my mid-20s. What exactly are they supposed to have in common? Clearly she got along with plenty of them, but literally one of the clips of her snacking shows her in the back while Alicia, 14, Jelly, 16, Suwon, 12, Bang Yunha, 14, Gyoryeon, 17, and Shion, 14 are up front goofing off. The crazy pills are getting stronger. Also, the clips of her on her phone. Let's count the visible phones in this clip, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 other phones visible in frame, but the only issue is with Yona. In the second clip, there's 4 people in frame and 3 of them have their phones out. I think that's Jelly in the back, and from a previous clip we can assume she's listening to the instrumental/guide at a low volume, but if the show wanted to, they could just as well have edited this to make it look like Jelly was on the phone with someone. The final clip, they aren't even practicing at that point, they're all standing around and somebody else is rummaging through their stuff. I can't help being hung up on this because they literally could have done this edit to any one of them, but they just decided to tear Yona down. This is the most screen time she's gotten since Tell Me. And do you want to know my theory for them being overly critical? It's because she didn't take on the leader role. She's the oldest by 6 years and no one else on this team has been a leader so far and she didn't want to do it. Can you imagine how much worse this edit would have been if she had been the leader? From the sounds of it, Gyoryeon might have been the leader. I don't think it's a coincidence that they chose her and Yuri for the voiceover, but they don't sound like their hearts are in it. It almost sounds like they were led to these statements, which wouldn't be surprising. It's been confirmed by previous survival show participants that the producers ask leading questions and it was really obvious during the last episode's forced rivalry arc. Okay, I'm calm, I'm level-headed, I can continue watching the deliberation. Hyoyeon goes on to say the producers and contestants probably have these 2 in mind, but who's the other person? Nobody else on that stage received any aired criticism. Then vendors cryptically talk about a contestant who had a lot of parts but didn't stand out and wasn't really felt on stage. God, the narrative of this episode is so stacked against Yona, it's pissing me off. They show Sumin and Gabi talking about someone they liked in the interim but who didn't stand out on stage this time. Coincidentally, they were not among the barrage of votes against Yona. Wonder who the producers want us to think they voted out. The unicorns chose Yona, which is no surprise after how they talked to and about her. Vendors choose Yuri, which is very intriguing to me because I think she's a very valid choice on this stage and I would definitely put her in the lower half of my ranks within this stage. But despite that, the show producers did nothing to showcase why they might have chosen her except that little comment from Adora and Nano. Not to put on my conspiracy hat, but it looks like Soojin and Eunhyung might have voted for someone else, seeing as Eunhyung mentions there might be a solo battle and Soojin agrees. For a refresher, the solo battle only happens if all of them select different contestants. However, the team votes Yona out and she is immediately eliminated because this show is super fair. They went through all of this effort to paint her as uncooperative and not dedicated only for her to have the single most gracious survival show exit I have ever seen in my life. Yona, you will always be famous. I will make sure of it. I will see you get your nutty moment. It's time to get into the Yummy Yum team. I love how the producers are so messy with how they do this that we go from the absolute heartbreak that is Yona being eliminated to the contestants happily preparing for the other song. So many ways this could have been structured better narrative-wise. Anyways, they brought 5 stars Yeji on as a rap mentor, which just reminds me that Yeji and Chaedong haven't been seen since Battle Week, and that Hyoyeon is supposedly the rap judge. Gabi, Sonu, and Sumin auditioned for the main rapper part. Funny how we never got a scene like this for Dream Girl. At the interim, they air their choices again. Shein chooses Eunhyung, explaining that she felt she looked a bit awkward on stage. Kotoko chooses her as well, saying she comes off as unstable among her teammates. Someone says she's pretty and did well, but she just didn't stand out in the team. 2 other people, sounds like it might be Jelly and Yona, choose Eunhyung as well, and Eunhyung herself admits she didn't feel like she did that well this time around. For the teammates, we start with Soojin, who chooses Gabi because she feels she lacks focus during practice. Niji also chooses Gabi, saying she was goofing off during practice. Jayla joins in, saying she thought Gabi had a hard time focusing during practice. Yeram adds a similar sentiment, saying Gabi struggled to keep up with the team even after they explained in detail what to do. They show the practice session where Gabi does goof around, but she's clearly trying to get the other girls to laugh and have fun with her, and I don't really want to blame anyone in that situation. It is a very stressful environment, and some people react by doubling down and others react by goofing off. I'm sure if someone had just talked to her about it, she would have fixed her behavior. She just reminds me of my friend who would act the exact same way while we were preparing for a citywide performance competition, especially the later in the evening it got. I also can't help but remember that eliminated contestants complimented her nice and helpful personality, and it's not like she shut down the way she did in Girls on Top. In a complete turn of events, they actually show Gabi and Eunhyung stepping up and putting in the work to improve instead of immediately cutting to the stage. I do think this stage was overall much better. For as much as they built it up, Kwon Eunhyung pulled off her part really well. Gabi has never reminded me more of Heejin than she did on this stage. Narumi didn't stand out as much as I'm used to, but she didn't disappoint either. I feel like Sumin was a bit unfairly advantaged in the parts distribution. Similarly to Nana, I think they both got parts they couldn't pull off 100%. It was nice to see her show off more of her all-roundedness. Jayla carried the performance in my opinion, her best yet. Sunu was alright, but she's definitely a better vocalist. Bang Yuna and Niji were just too young to be on that stage, and I really hate whisper parts in live performances because very few people can actually pull them off. I kind of forgot Jinyoung was there because I don't think the camera focused on her even once. Hyunju was also fine, but just not very memorable this time. However, I think Lee Hoo-ran was the biggest disappointment. She has consistently done much better in concepts similar to Dream Girl, so I don't get how she got placed in this team. She and Eunhyung should have switched with Yona and Gyoryeon. I nearly forgot Yeram. She was okay, but I feel like her impact consistently gets lesser and lesser with every stage in this competition. Honestly, she probably would have done way better on Dream Girl, and Haram should have been in this group. I gotta be honest, I fully forgot Soojin was on this team. Again, saw someone point out that most of the high rankers and producer picks were on Dream Girl, and this might have been a combination test to see which contestants to push for the final lineup, and I'm inclined to agree. On to the judges. Rian praises Gabi for making the part her own and using her image to its fullest. Sejong praises Sumin for her rap, starting to think Sumin might be her favorite. Sejong also praises Yoonha for her interpretation of the songs, and contrary to my opinion, particularly highlights her whisper part. I just don't think whisper parts belong on survival shows. Oh, there was no criticism aired for anyone in this group. How bizarre! During the deliberation, Sejong mentions a lack of impact from Yeram, Hoo-ran, and Soojin. Yoonha also shares she barely even noticed Niji. They complain about Eunhyung not managing to make her part into a killing part, then Yoonha elaborates that she feels like a regular kid among trainees. Gyoryeon comments that this is the end of the line for Eunhyung. Over at the vendor's seat, they discuss how forgettable Soojin and Hoo-ran were on stage, and Adora says she likes Eunhyung's charm. Nano suggests eliminating Soojin. Weird how much context we're getting for this team versus Dream Girl. They also show the votes from Dream Girl team. I'm starting to think the other disappointing contestants on Dream Girl might have been producer favorites. Kotoko, Sowon, Shein, or maybe even a fan favorite. Nana votes for Hoo-ran, Gyoryeon votes for Soojin, Shein votes for Eunhyung. The unicorn pick is Eunhyung. Vendors go with Eunhyung. She has been eliminated before it's even revealed that the opposing team also chose her. See, a big reason why I think Eunhyung's elimination wasn't nearly as upsetting is because most people feel she's been on borrowed time since the last elimination. We've already had the context that she lags behind. We've already heard that she's slow to pick up the choreo. Has she overall been a disappointment on stage? Absolutely not, and with a bit more proper training, she would be a fine idol. But we're not going from 0 to 100 with her. And I think most people predicted this from the last episode. I know I did. Part of what makes Yona's elimination so upsetting is because it came out of nowhere. Not once has it been implied before that she doesn't work hard during practice. She hasn't gotten a single edit since she was the leader for Tell Me and a trilingual translator. She's just done her work and served as a main vocalist in both pre-unit station teams. Suddenly, in the unit station, she's given an onomatopoeia and an uncooperative edit and eliminated despite showing over and over again that she deserves a spot in the final lineup. I fear the xenophobic Girls Planet editors may have found a new job. However, as predictable as it was, watching Eunhyung and subsequently the rest of the Yummy Yum team break down in tears on stage is such a stark reminder that she's still just a kid. She's only 16 years old. I'm strong enough to admit I shed a tear with her, but I really hope she doesn't give up and continues to train. She's already in the company. In less than a year, if she keeps working hard, I guarantee she'll be debut ready. They're just kids at the end of the day. They have time to improve. Now, reception to Yummy Yum has been incredibly polarizing. I can understand it. Me personally, I don't think the lyrical intention or the concept was meant to be taken as mature. Definitely should have looked up how down on your knees could be interpreted, and I would have changed it to like bow down to me. But it's very clear that the lyrics aren't meant to be taken as mature in nature. There are a few more questionable ones for sure, but the overall lyrics read like, I'm too good for you, I'm a queen, expensive and luxurious, you'll never compare to me. My biggest issue is with the choreo and styling. To begin with, I don't think any K-pop idol, except maybe two, should be twerking. And I don't think anyone under the age of 18 should be doing any kind of choreo that draws attention there, but especially not in skirts. Did you guys notice only two of the girls had long pants and every single minor except Narumi was wearing a skirt or shorts? I don't even have enough words to describe how much jail time these producers should be seeing. For the last 30 minutes, we have the second promotion ceremony, filmed the day before airing. I was shooting for them filming it last weekend, not last Tuesday. Only 16 girls will advance to the finale, meaning 6 girls from S tier will be eliminated. With Nana and Sowon already in R, and Kotoko, Narumi, Jelly, and Alicia in I, 10 contestants have been promoted to I. We start with Hyunju and Gyoryeon picking up the S circle from where we left off last time. While Gyoryeon makes it about 2/3 of the way, Hyunju is promoted to I tier with only about a quarter to go for R. Hyunju is 10th overall and 4th in fan votes. After them are the Bae sisters. Yeram just barely passes the halfway point for S, while Haram makes it to I and almost half. Haram is 14th overall and 14th in fan votes. Next we have Yona and Lee Sunwoo. Currently they're both S tier, but one of them made it to R. Sunwoo quickly makes it to I, having started not far behind, with Yona catching up and also passing to I, meaning both are safe. Sunwoo is just a percentage away, while Yuna passes to R tier, keeping that tier's average age at 14. Yuna is 5th overall and 3rd in fan vote, meanwhile Sunwoo is 9th overall and 5th in votes. We have another hidden ticketing this time, but not from the contestants. This time the producers, papermaker, vendors, and Galactica will be voting. Side note, found out Yuna from AOA is getting married to a member of Galactica Friday. She also did backup vocals for ITZY's Dalla Dalla, Twice's Heartshaker, and Ujusona's Butterfly. I remembered it came out some years back that she had been writing and providing backup vocals for other K-pop acts under a pseudonym, but this hit me like a truck when I remembered Doha's sister Himi was on this show. And Yuna's sister was a member of Very Good. She couldn't nepotism Himi a spot for a bit longer. Most of the producers agreed they should go with balanced all-rounders who brought something important to the team and production and who followed advice well. The hidden ticketing is then between Bang Yoonha and Kim Soomin. Soomin ends up receiving the producer ticket and passing to I tier immediately. Galactica chose Soomin, Jayla, and Horan in that order. Papermaker chose Bang Yoonha, Soomin, and Jeon Jin-young. Finally, vendors chose Soomin, Narumi, and Sunwoo. When you think about it, this kind of does a lot to discredit the narrative that the older contestants are less talented, less deserving to debut, etc. And despite not really judging the performance, they still chose some of the most consistent contestants in stage presence and performance capability. With how the show has been going, I'm honestly shocked none of them chose Sowon, Alicia, or Nana. After that, they show the fan votes, which brings both of them to R tier. Soomin got 8th place overall and 13th in fan votes, but she only got 92,000 points from the producer vote. Yoonha got 7th overall and 11th in fan votes, and I'm just wondering what happened to the rest of Soomin's hidden ticketing votes. Last promotion ceremony, there was only a 1 vote difference between Nana and Kotoko, but Nana got an even 115,000. This time, Soomin got 8 out of 9 possible points, and Yoonha only got 3, but Soomin got a percentage of the total of 115,000, and Yoonha got nothing. If you're going to introduce a curveball, at least make it consistent. Either give Soomin the full 115,000 like you did for Nana, or split the hidden ticketing across everyone who got points in it. Moving on. Gabi and Sheehan get called to the stage. Gabi is a few percents away from promotion, while Sheehan is about halfway to I. Gabi moves to just over halfway to R, while Sheehan is just under halfway. Gabi is 12th overall and 19th in votes, while Sheehan is 13th overall and 10th in votes. After them is Jeon Jin-young and Jayla. Jayla didn't even make it halfway to I, while Jin-young passed. Jin-young is ranked 15th overall and ranked 6th in votes. I'm going to pretend Jayla's elimination message didn't happen because I can't think about her voice breaking and Kotoko sobbing. So let me point out how funny it is that so far on fan ticketing alone, Hyunju, Sunwoo, and Jin-young should be in the first half of the top 8, but none of them are in the top 8. I get the feeling Jayla was really well liked because so many of the contestants cried over her elimination. Now we're checking Kotoko and Narumi, who have both already advanced to I. Narumi is about a quarter away, while Kotoko makes it to R tier. Kotoko is ranked 6 overall, but she's ranked 12 in votes. She went up overall by 2 places, but down in votes by 4. interesting. You know, if they had spent even just half a minute of Kotoko's screen time throughout the show to highlight her apparently really close friendship with Jayla, I think the overall reception to both of them would have been boosted so much that Jayla would have stayed. I wonder if these producers even saw how important close friendships are to people's perception of a group bond. Like in 101 we had Doyeon and Yoojung, and on 48 there was Sakura and Chaeyeon. And the two duos making the group together had such an overall positive effect on their image. But no, we have to waste an entire episode on some fake rivalries. Narumi is rank 11 overall and rank 20 in votes if people don't start voting for my girl. I did warn you that the producers were attempting to split the positive attention she was getting online. Sujin and Huran are next up on the stage. Neither one of them makes it to I. I did predict Huran and Eunhyung would be eliminated this episode. The final elimination is between Niji and Yuri. Niji surprisingly almost makes it to I, but is eliminated while Yuri just barely passes. Yuri is 16th overall and 7th in fan vote. The final promotion check is between Nana and Sowon in R and Jelly and Alicia in I. Among the four of them, one will make it to Prism. Since Jelly and Nana are first up, we know it's going to be neither of them. First they showed Jelly move up to R tier, then Nana's votes only move about 5%, while Jelly's keep counting until she's about 1% away. Nana is rank 4 overall due to her previous ticketing, but rank 15 in votes. Jelly is again 2nd overall and 2nd in votes. This means the first member of the final group is between Alicia and Sowon. Sowon's gauge stops counting only at a quarter of the way, while Alicia's takes her all the way to P rank, making her rank 1 in votes and overall with not a single benefit. Now, let's just manifest that she's also going to be the youngest member. While Sowon is 3rd overall, she's 8th in fan votes. Some lighthearted news here at the end is that Yona's company, Gold Dust, have announced their first group will be debuting soon. Yona was rumored to be in the lineup, but then messages between her and a fan were shared where she said she had no knowledge of the group, but she will be releasing music soon. The company trademarked B-Wave on the 4th of January, so it is assumed that will be the group name, and it looks like it will be a 6-member group. Other positive news is that the company requires applicants to be above the age of 15, so we will be tuning in. It's also like really close to Starship's offices. They also have no limit on nationality, so I'm really interested to see this group. If you're upset about Yona's elimination, I would encourage you to follow her Instagram and update accounts for this upcoming group. Some fun things to look at would be which contestants would be in the top if it was only fan votes from this round, since this show functions on cumulative points. Rank 1 and 2 don't change, staying as Alicia and Jelly respectively. Yuna moves up to 3rd, while Hyunju shoots up to 4th place. Sunwoo also shoots up to 5th, and Jinyoung is close behind in 6th. Adding to the list of adults is Yuri joining in 7th, and Sowon drops to 8th. This brings their average age up to 16.75 versus the current top 8 at 15. If Sowon were to be replaced by Yona, it would be 18.25. Just using this to highlight that our votes are making a difference and we can have a majority adult lineup. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I could let Alicia's age slide if the group debuts in April, like I think they're aiming for, since that is when she turns 15, and again, it's still not good, but it's not as bad as the worst case scenario. I wouldn't be buying their albums or actively streaming or even standing the group, but it could be worse. If we focus our votes in this last round on Hyunju, Sunwoo, Yuri, Jinyoung, and Sumin, I already know Jelly has a strong voter base. We could actually possibly get them into the final lineup. Sumin is already in the top 8, so she just needs to stay there. Sunwoo and Hyunju are 9th and 10th overall. If you want to leverage even more contestants who are closer to debut, Nana and Kotoko are also in the top 8. I'm not saying this to discourage the children, but they will have more chances. Sowon's company is literally holding auditions right now for girls between the age of 15 to, brace yourselves, 7. I went and I did some math using this calculation from the last elimination by Reddit user RawI'mEdgy as a basis. Based on the points and percentages given by SBS, they determined that I-tier promotion requires 150,000 points. I double-checked with the Unicorn ticket during this episode, and Kotoko needed 37,145 votes according to their calculation and received 37,165, so that is well within reasonable deviation. I also checked with Narumi, who needs 89,010 points by their estimation and received 89,013, even better deviation. So from their estimate, Niji needed 96,370 points to advance to I from her original 53,630. According to SBS, Niji was 99.9% of the way to advancing, meaning she would have had to have received 96,255 points, roughly, if those calculations are accurate. Here are some things that stick out though. In the points, vote rank number 9 is missing. Were Niji to be that rank, she would have received between 70,579 to 78,783 points. Were Niji to have received 99.9% of the points she needed to advance, she would have been in 5th place in votes between Hyunju with 111,800.9 points and Sunwoo with 91,723.4 points. So which is true, SBS? Is Niji the hidden 9th rank, or is she 99.9% of the way to advancing to I tier? A deviation of 20 votes is a far cry from a deviation of 20,000. Does SBS have some secret math nobody else knows of? I may not be great at math, but I know how to calculate percentages. Here are the possible explanations. 1. Niji was not 0.1% away from advancing, and SBS just manipulated it for drama. 2. SBS decided to cannibalize votes from the other contestants to inflate Niji's rank. 3. SBS is, in fact, not being transparent about the votes and percentages received by the contestants and might even be further manipulating them. 4. It is possible that the missing 9th rank was either Yona or Eunhyung, and SBS decided to add that girl's votes to Niji's to inflate her score. Is this basically the same explanation 4 times? Yes, it is. Because there's no possible explanation where SBS doesn't assume we won't look into their numbers that they released themselves and decided to mess around with them for drama. I also decided to take a look at Jayla because her being ranked 22 just makes no sense in my head. She's literally just been gaining in recognition since the last promotion. So last time she did not receive any promotion and accumulated 52,382 votes according to SBS. At that point, she was about 15.1% of the way to I. Let's try a different perspective. Once you reach 35,000, the count towards 150,000 starts from 0, but you no longer need 150,000 points, you need 115,000. Jayla would have 17,382 out of 115,000 points, which is indeed 15.1% of the way. But by the end of this voting period, she was only 36.6% of the way, which is about 42,090 points out of 115,000. So she only gained 24,708 votes, which is less than half of what she got in the vote before that. It is also not enough for her to be one of the missing vote ranks. This calculation is making me go a little bit crazy, because for Kotoko and Narumi, it was correct, but none of the eliminated girls are adding up. I decided to check Sujin as well. SBS says she was 73.7% of the way to I, which again, reflecting on 115,000 would mean she had 84,755 votes above 35,000. Based on the last elimination, she had 59,840 total points. Take away 35,000 and you're left with 24,840. That would make her 21.6% of the way to 115,000 like the SBS website said. For her to reach 84,755, she would have to have received 59,915 votes this round. No benefits, so that lands her at rank 13, between Kotoko and Sumin, and not in one of the empty spots either. Now again, my math might be way off, but I am basing this off of the previous ranking and the current numbers released by SBS. Gyoryeon would need to have 72,450 points out of 115,000, or a total of 107,450. Last rank, she was at 58,000 and an even 20% of the way. She would have to have received 49,450 votes. This could actually land her in one of the empty slots. Beira would have to have received 61,065 points out of 115,000, or a cumulative 96,065 points. That means she should have added 30,245 votes this round, which is actually consistent with her points last round, but would not be enough for her to be one of the missing voting ranks. Horan would need to have 52,210 points out of 115,000, or a cumulative 87,210 points. Starting at 36,610 from last round, she would have had to add an even 50,600, making her eligible for one of the missing voting slots. Seriously, I want someone to correct my math if this is wrong, because it's past 1 AM while I'm doing this. Out of 4 possible voting ranks, only 2 of them have been identified. 2 contestants had scores too low to even land on the list, and 2 had scores too high for any of the options. I need SBS to release the raw data and confirm the actual votes. In other news, the Top 16 concert they were supposed to have got cancelled because of visa, and note this, academic issues. Elementary and middle school are obligatory in South Korea, meaning this could refer to any and all of the contestants under the age of 15. The E6 visa is specifically for foreign nationals who wish to engage in profit-making entertainment activities. The fact that FNF and SBS didn't have this sorted before announcing the concert is so messy and not a good indication for them going forward. But the academic issues shouldn't be related to the time, since the shows were scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. Then someone pulled up the available seats and more than half the venue, at least for one of the dates, was available. and the tickets were like 5,000 won. Another interesting statistic was the demographics of buyers. More than half the buyers were people in their 30s to 40s. I'm going to sincerely hope this was parents buying tickets for their kids, because otherwise...